Hi everyone, how you doing? It's intriguing, isn't it, about the BBC presenter and what he got up to? We can't condone it, but apparently it's been known since May. Since May, and they've done nothing about it. Why is that no surprise to anyone? They simply just sit on these things, don't they, until they absolutely have to do something. So, what do we know? How do we narrow it down as to who it could be? We're not allowed to name the person. I don't actually know who it is at the moment, but there are some that will know who it is, but they dare not say anything just yet. But was it one of those that took a pay cut? I made a list of a few people that took a pay cut. So if he's amongst those, well, that narrows it down. But what happens if he chose not to take a pay cut? Then he might be amongst a more rare group for those that refuse to take the BBC pay cut. And so that again narrows it down. Let's look at the BBC front entrance here. What do you know about the BBC and their love of sculpture? Well, round about there, it's not showing it on this picture, but they have a statue by the well-known sculptor Eric Gill. For those that have really looked into this, you will realise that yes, Eric Gill was an incestuous paedophile, but the BBC still paid him and commissioned him to do them a sculptor. And that is what I keep saying about the BBC. They're not worth you paying the licence fee, even though I am paying them the annual licence fee. But reluctantly, under great duress. I don't really want to, because I don't think that they've earned the right to ask for money, when all they do with people's payments is pay presenters who are just down in the gutter. Now, it's a bit of competition at the moment between who's worse out of the BBC and ITV, with recent Philip Schofield situation that unfolded. But then we had the BBC's past history of Savile and everything else. I can't decide who's worse. If I had to put my money on it right now as to who do I think is the most defiled out of the two broadcast stations, I'd definitely say the BBC. I think they've covered up more sleaze along the way than the ITV crew have. That's not to say that ITV haven't done their fair share of cloak and dagger coverings up along the way. I'm sure they have. But I just think that the BBC is nailing it for the outright, well, it's the outright disdain that they have for you and me. You know, we pay their licence fee, and this is how they treat you. Now, this person, could his profile there, could be anybody, couldn't it, really? Well, we know who it's not. It's not likely to be those that have come out just recently and strenuously denied it's them, unless, of course, that's a smokescreen. I mean, obviously, someone is going to lie, aren't they, to hold on to their position. But I'd like to say that those that have come out and said it's not me, I'm kind of believing that that might be the case, that it isn't Jeremy Vine, and it's perhaps not Ryland Clark, and it's not Gary Lineker. And that kind of narrows it down now, doesn't it? Because if you get more and more people that keep stepping forward and saying it's not me, then eventually someone's going to be left a solitary figure, isn't? And that's for me is coming. I think between Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, I think this is going to be blown right out of the water. I think we're all going to know who that shadowy figure is. But what do we know that he got up to? Well, exchanging pictures, parading in his underpants, paying a young person for pictures. It's all horribly sleazy, isn't it? And it's so BBC and it's so ITV. And I've said this before, but I think that the mainstream news media stations, they're on the way out. People just have had enough of them. They want to get their news from more independent sources, sources that don't particularly put a stranglehold of pressure on a person to have a certain view, which is what the BBC and the ITV have done over the years. There are some amazing independent news stations out there that present the news and then leave it up to you. You know, there's none of this. You know, you will do what we say. And I just don't think that the BBC realise that their time is coming to an end. I hope it happens in my lifetime. You know, I'm only 60. I'd like to think that the BBC licence fee will be scrapped, and I'll see that, because people just don't respect them. They don't respect the presenters. They don't like the presenters, particularly. They don't like ITV's presenters. For me, that they're as bad as each other. They seem to be child grooming enablers, both stations. They'll do what they can to protect the abuser and not the abused. And in a lot of ways, it's like religions. A lot of religions do that. They protect the abused. Sorry, they protect the abuser, and they don't protect the abused. Without naming who those religions are. You make your mind up on that one. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, expect this person to be named. Definitely. See y'all.